So today we're going to do Unit 1, Lesson 1, which is function notation and transformations as functions. So we have a lot of vocabulary to discuss. So let's first talk about what is a transformation. It is a function that changes the position, shape, and or size of a figure. And we call that mapping, okay? So it is a function that changes the position, shape, and or size of a figure. F-I-G-U-R-E, figure. Okay. We also call this, so AKA mapping. Okay. All right. Function notation. You should have heard about function notation before, but we're going to be using this a little bit differently for this. So let's add here, okay, for function notation, how we talk about moving point A to another point on the graph. So this is how we move point A to another place. It is called A prime. Okay. And the way that we write A prime is an A with a little tally above it. Okay. Zoom out a little bit more. Okay. So function notation looks like this. Okay. I would say the function t of A is going to move to A prime. That's how I would write that. All right, next, let's talk about coordinate notation. Coordinate notation is when we take a pre-image, and we're going to talk about what that is down below. Okay, we take a pre-image, which would look like a regular ordered pair, and we map it onto, so that's what this line means, maps onto the image. And the image would look like, I'm just going to make one up, x plus 2, y minus 3. Okay. So I use two words, image and pre-image, but what do those mean? Okay. So a pre-image is an original figure. Okay. Or you could say it's what you start with. Or if I was going to think about domain and range, okay, my pre-image would be my my input. Okay, so a pre-image. Now, what is an image? An image is the new figure. The new figure after the translation. Okay, so honestly, my husband is a photographer, and the easiest way for me to think about this, okay, is he has a camera. Here we go. I'm going to use my son's camera. He's got this camera, right? And whatever it is that I am seeing in real life, that already exists. That's my pre-image. Once I click the button to capture it in my camera, when I turn it around and look at it, that's now the image, okay? So pre-image is what's original. Image is what you capture after doing something, okay? And now let's talk about how this relates to rigid motion, okay? Rigid motion. And that is isometry. I-S-O, or iso, like symmetry. Okay, you can think of it that way. Okay, so this is a transformation that changes position of a figure without changing the shape or the size of the figure. Okay, a transformation that changes position of a figure, but not the shape or size. And then I'm going to give an example here of rigid motion and not rigid motion. Okay. So I am going to just draw a figure. Let's see. Okay. So this is my pre-image. This is what I'm starting with first. And when I put these little dashes, it means that those sides are congruent to each other, meaning that they're equal in length. All right. And then if I move this somewhere different, slide it down here, this is now my image, okay? And it would slide down to here. This is an example of rigid motion. Yes, this is rigid motion. That's what it looks like. It changed the location of the image, but not the size or the shape, okay? Let's look at an example of not rigid motion. So my pre-image is going to look like this. Okay. And then I'm going to slide it down to here. And now suddenly it is a different shape. That is not rigid motion. Okay. All right. I'm going to go on to page 2 of my notes. And I will post this video for us after class is over as well. Okay. Okay, so things that you need to know about rigid motion from our two examples that we just looked at. Rigid motion preserves distance or length of the sides of your figure, okay? It also preserves angle measures or your shape, okay? Betweenness, and what that means is like the order of the points. Order of the points. Okay, and then collinearity means that they would be on the same line. So we haven't learned about all the different types of translations yet, but we will, or transformations, I mean. Okay, so we will have reflections, rotations, and translations. All of those will help me keep my rigid motion. But a dilation, if you ever go to the eye doctor and they dilate your eye, it makes your pupil bigger. So a dilation can change the size of something and make it bigger or smaller. So that would not be a rigid motion transformation, okay? So what we're going to do right now is we're going to do an example, and then we're going to be done with this first lesson, okay? So first thing that we're going to do is I need to actually draw the pre-image onto my figure, okay? Let me use pink for this. So one of my points is going to be 0, 0. And this is my pre-image. Remember that pre-image is what you have originally. Do I need to make this a little darker for you to see the pink? Yes, I do. Okay, so hopefully that will help. What's my other point? 0, 4 right here. And then my last point will be 2, 0 right here. And I'm going to connect the points of this triangle. Okay. And I'm going to label, whoa, that got way too dark. I'm going to label these points. So this is point A, point B, and point C. So I need to label them in the correct places, okay? So this point 0, 0 is A, this up here is B, and this is C, okay? Now I'm going to change to, well, do I want blue? I'll use black and then I'll just highlight it. Okay, we need to go from the image, which were these points, X, Y, and we need to apply some changes to these points. So for my X value, I'm going to subtract 2. For my Y value, I'm going to add 2. So starting with point A, okay, once I do the translation, this is now going to be A prime. So I need to do the X value. 0 minus 2 is negative 2. Now my Y value, 0 plus 2 is a positive 2. And I'm going to go plot this point on my coordinate plane. So negative 2 up 2, and that is going to be called A prime. Now let's do our B prime. I need to take 0 in the X value and minus 2. I need to take 4 for my Y value and add 2. And then I'm going to plot this point. So negative 2 up 6. And this will be B prime. Finally, I'm going to do C. So my C prime, 2 minus 2 is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. And now I'm going to plot that image point, 0 up 2. And I'm going to connect these points. And I need to be sure to label that C prime. Okay? So when I ask you, draw the triangle under the given transformation, that's what I did for B. Okay? This was my image. Okay, my image. I highlighted it in yellow. Okay, now, does this appear to be rigid motion? So the shape didn't change, and the size didn't change, and the angle measures didn't change. Okay, so yes, this is, let me scooch up a little. Yes, this is rigid motion. All right, so that is our example for Unit 1, Lesson 1.